he wanted to do an initiative for creatives where they got to explore different locations and get really great content, and people can pull up if they were content creators and get their content made and just kind of network. And he just asked me randomly to do it, and I planned it for him, and we had maybe like 12 or 13 people, and we had a blast. I was like, okay, this is like a real thing for me.
Everybody ready? You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, and 3, 2. In 2020, I traveled with my brother, one of my best friends, and my brother's wife. We went to Europe, and we went to Paris. We found some really good deals, and one thing that we made sure we did was, like, you know what? We're here for a week. Why not see 5 different cities? So we booked hotels, train tickets, all that stuff, and it was a cool trip. Last year, I got married in Jamaica, and it was my second time going to a all-inclusive resort, and it was cool. But you know, the travel agent, was a little. She was okay. I'm not gonna name names, but she was all right. And it was just, both experiences to me were very unique, and we had a good time, but I felt like something was missing. I felt like we were so focused on planning and things like that sometimes we didn't have an opportunity to really truly enjoy. Like, there was one time in Amsterdam, we were running after a train because we were 10 minutes late, and it was ridiculous. So I always value the companies that focus on travel and the best experiences. And today we have someone that focuses on just that. Krystal Douglas is here, and she is the owner of Noire Luxe Travel, and she gives people that experience to enjoy, to relax and enjoy. You just tell her what you want. She creates an itinerary, a very luxurious, type of travel, and you go from there. So she's going to talk to us about some tips, how she got into it, how she made it a business, and, more about travel in general and why it's important. So, Krystal Douglas, thank you for being on For All We Know. We got to clink it up. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. So, I think the first question is, we all love travel. Well, most of us love travel. Some people don't like to do anything. But we all love travel. What made you love travel so much that you wanted to create a business from it?
I think, honestly, I've just been traveling since I was young. My parents took us on cruises when we were little, and my family is all from the islands, so we got to experience all the different islands and just having that diverse upbringing. And then as I got older, I just ended up becoming the planning friend. So I'm just like, I might as well start a little business with it.
The planning friend. I know you went through a lot of anxiety because Black people and trips, man. It could go just honestly. Some people in general, you got to start like way far in advance, and then you just see them drop off. But
yeah, it's definitely been challenging. Like, I feel as though I've been asked some questions or had requests that I just sometimes I'll just be staring at my phone like, I'm a travel agent. I am not a magician.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So, it's definitely interesting, and I think that people are now starting to feel as though there's not a need for travel agents. But honestly, like, you do get the best deals and the best experience.
You know what? First off, there is a need. And the only reason why I say that is because you can do everything yourselves. Like I mentioned before, we went to Europe, and we were able to, sync up hotels and the train times and stuff like that. Yeah. But not to say that it took away from our experience, but if somebody else did it, I wouldn't be mad.
Right.
So it's cool that you you have a business around this. So what was there a certain trip or anything like that made you be like, you know what? Now it's a business. Now I got to make it a business. I'm usually the friend. Yeah. Now I got to make it a business.
Okay. So probably my birthday trip to Costa Rica.
Okay.
I honestly felt like I needed a travel agent. Like, I was so overwhelmed. I didn't want to do, like, everybody's coming to me for the plans and what to do, obviously, because I'm the host.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was my birthday. I didn't want to host. And
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. So through that, and then I also, up until that point, I hadn't just planned my trips. I had planned a trip for a photographer who's like a wedding photographer, but he wanted to do an initiative for creatives where they got to explore different locations and get really great content, and people can pull up if they were content creators and get their content made and just kind of network. And he just asked me randomly to do it, and I planned it for him, and we had maybe like 12 or 13 people, and we had a blast. I was like, okay, this is like a real thing for me now. Okay.
So do you think that, you know, you say that your family's from the islands. Do you think that your personal experiences of your family always traveling, like, you know, kind of helped you, like, kind of give you that push to be like, okay, I really want to be like in the business of it now?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody knows the travel portion is not as fun, like, you know, the plane and, you know, the taking off your shoes at the airport. But as far as when I would get away, even from a very young age, I just felt like something shift. I always had a burst of creativity or some type of like mindset shift. And I think it's diversified, like my, I would just say knowledge base and my experience with people. I see the world a little bit differently. And sometimes you can tell when people don't interact with different cultures or different types of people because they're just not used to it. So
yeah, that's very true. So do you think, how do you balance like the travel? Because I'm sure obviously you still travel for leisure, but how do you balance that and running a business?
You know, it's funny. I'm in the middle of figuring that out because in the midst of me like planning in the last year, I was planning everybody else's trips. I was not going anywhere.
You were just at home.
Yeah, because I'm getting hit up for trips and I'm making sure their stuff is perfect. And then the trips I was going on is like something a friend might be like, you know, can you come to this or do you want to come to that?
Not
it was nothing I did.
Trip.
No. So I'm finding that balance now. I'm realizing I have to make time for my own trips too. But I think I've figured something out.
Okay. That's good. Yeah. So you talk about and we've talked about this off camera before, the 9 to 5, because, you know, I still work a 9 to 5. You still work a 9 to 5. How are you balancing that and, you know, also like balancing, you know, leisure for yourself and trips? How are you balancing the 9 to 5 and entrepreneurship? Because that's tough, man. That's really tough.
I mean, I'm open to people who have better ideas themselves. I think you just end up, you clock into a 5 to 9. When you're done your 9 to 5, you clock into a 5 to 9.
Yeah.
Getting off shifts, I'm editing this, I'm sending this out. Sometimes a little in between when you're on breaks, or it just is like that. I think you have to really pour a lot of time into it. Sometimes even more time, because the stress that comes with your day job can kind of take away that energy.
Yeah.
So, also just making sure that you're still in tune with it. Like, is this still something I want to do? Because if you don't want to do it now, it's like
have a passion for it.
Yeah, because now it's like I'm clocking into 2 things I don't want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
What's I've always told people is 2 things. I told people that, you know, with a 9 to 5, people say when you're an entrepreneur, you have to hustle, and you do, because that's your bread and butter. Like if that's all you have, that's all you have.
Right.
But for people that work a 9 to 5 too, we have to hustle in a different way because we have to catch up to the person that's working the 9 to 5, or 9 to 5 is not even the thing. Like 9 to whenever, or 8 to whenever, you know. So that's always difficult. But I always encourage people, like, if you have something that you're doing, make sure that, you know, obviously, like you said, you love to do it, but a 9 to 5 can be a blessing too, because it funds your entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
You know?
And that helps with saving time too, because I just had a friend that I know, she's really great at copywriting, and I'm a writer by trade. As far as in my degree, I was an English major. So I can write. But when it comes to your own stuff, you just kind of, your brain is just not.
Just shut off.
Yeah, you don't want to do it. So I had her copyright a couple things for me for my website, so I don't have to think about it. Sometimes you just have to ask for help too.
Man, it's tough, but it's good to have friends.
Yeah.
it's good to have friends and network with people that do that kind of stuff, because you can pour into, like, you could focus more on what you need to focus on versus, you know, what somebody is a pro at.
Right. Like, you don't want to be the person behind the camera and the talent. It's just too much.
Yeah. Oh, we were just talking about that. I was just talking about that with the camera crew. So what's always important for me, and I'm glad I got to experience this when I did, was traveling overseas. Like, traveling is cool, like, going to, Boston or New York or LA, but traveling overseas will open your eyes. But more importantly, why do you think travel, or do you think travel is important for Black people or, people in our culture?
Yes, I think it's not only important, but it's crucial. I feel like our day-to-day experiences kind of take away from our mental a lot and our mental health. There's things that we have to think about every day that most people go through the world and don't have to think about. Like, it's not even a thought. It's immersed into our experiences and everything we do. So taking that time to break from it and see other cultures, just kind of like get into it, make those connections. It's really important. Yeah.
It's definitely it opened my eyes so much. And, we went to Europe. So when we traveled, we went to Paris. We went to Bern, Switzerland, Brussels. Where else?
Well, that's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, we were all by train. Amsterdam and Frankfurt.
Okay.
Yeah, we went all over the place. It was an adventure, but more so like, my mom, when I was younger, her and my dad were married in Sicily. Came to Jacksonville, whatever, and she'd never been out of the country after that.
Wow.
And it really opened my eyes because she would talk about like Italy so much and Europe and the culture, and I'm like, all right, it's cool. But it wasn't until I got over there, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
it's different.
The postcards and the videos are not doing
it justice. They don't do it justice.
No.
And I made a little video and stuff, and I'll always have it. But same thing with when I went to Jamaica. I've never been to Jamaica before my wedding, and just seeing other Black people and we're American, but in that moment, we were all, it was almost like we were all family. I mean, the servers probably want tips, but still, you feel me? So it was a really good experience to just travel and kind of like expand your horizon, So.
Yeah. And it just teaches you about, like, I don't know, it can teach you to be grateful for certain things. Your life is totally different from other people. I think it's important to learn different cultures. And because my family is so diverse, like, I get out into the world and I'm expecting everybody thinks or see things the way that I do. And it's not like that. They've never maybe even left their state. So
hate to be the one to break it to you, but your logo is not your brand. You deserve to have a cohesive brand that's captivating to your target audience. That's where we come in. Greetings, creators. My name is Trinity. I am the creative director for Incarnate. We are a full-service branding agency here to help you expand your brand. With our results-driven strategies and creative design, we create brand marketing solutions that help your brand be seen and heard. Ready to expand your brand? Collab with the creatives today.
What's your you say your family's from the islands. What island?
yeah, so my dad's family's from Guyana, which is in South America, and then my mom's side is from St. Croix in Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, all my siblings through my mom actually were born in St. Croix, and my mom was raised out there. So yeah.
Nice, man. See, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they're from New York, or they
yeah.
Okay,
we're also from New York.
Man.
So yeah, they ended up there. My family from Guyana, they immigrated through Ellis Island, and they ended up in New York. And my grandfather's still in the house that my grandmother had left them. So
nice, man.
Yeah.
See, and that's one thing I'm learning because my wife is from Jamaica.
Okay.
Well, she's from Brooklyn, but her family's from, they're all Jamaican.
Yeah.
And just seeing the culture is like, when I tell you, the baby showers, the link ups, whatever, the food.
Food's amazing.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
It only have to be a crazy like event.
Yeah.
It's just it's so good, man. I love it.
Because even down to like Thanksgiving, like my Thanksgivings, I grew up with having oxtail. Like there was always oxtail and like curry chicken, and that was a part of our Thanksgiving. But some people
lucky.
it's just not normal. Yeah.
So it's important to also, like, if you're going overseas, to look at resources and like tips and stuff like that. How do you stay on trends, and like what's your 5 trends for like traveling?
Okay.
Or tips, I should say.
Right. I'm gonna be honest. Lately, using Google Flights to plan trips, especially if I'm not trying to make like a certain festival or a certain dates, that's the go-to I use for flights. Of course, I have a bunch of partners in websites through my agency.
Okay.
But Google Flights is a big one.
Okay.
I compare and contrast on there. I am subscribed to different things, like different newsletters and stuff like that. But I want to say I am kind of biased. I really love Delta. I love Delta Vacations.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. Like, I just feel like the customer service, the package options, like...
Not Spirit, huh?
Okay. Oh, boy.
Yeah. That's okay. You don't have to answer.
No.
But yeah, no, Delta Vacations and Delta, they just, I mean, they're number one for a reason.
They get it.
Yeah.
They really get it, so...
So as far as like growth with travel, because I felt like when I came back, I was a little different. Do you feel like, there's something to be said about traveling overseas and like personal, like how it could benefit your personal growth?
Yeah, it's almost, I feel like anytime I'm in a new place, it's almost like surreal. Like it's not, I don't want to say Twilight Zone because I feel like that's more negative, but you're just placed into a different environment, and people just underestimate how much that really shifts your mindset. Okay. With the people, how they interact with each other, networking. Like, I went to Panama a few years ago, and I still interact with people from Panama. Like, we gave back to children over there.
Nice.
And then we just went out exploring. We met people, and I still have them on Instagram, and we
That's
still
cool.
like interact with each other and check in. And so that building community in different places, just understanding how their day-to-day is compared to yours, it does a lot. And I think it could do a lot for your creativity too.
Yeah.
When you're in one place too long, you kind of get a little stifled. So
That's true. That's true. A lot of artists go like overseas to record.
yeah.
Just like, it's America can be very like chaotic.
Yeah.
to
Hustle
say the
and
least.
bustle and
Yeah, like some places just are a lot more chill
Chilled.
and slow, and that might just be the American way. But
yeah.
so if somebody wanted to like, talk to you about what, I want to go on a trip, what's the first thing they should do?
So I kind of actually changed it around. I think that the direct conversation is important. I had it where people were just filling out a form, and then I'd get back to them to kind of clarify any questions and make sure I'm clear on their trip. Now I'm having it where it's kind of like a contact form, very much more so basic, and then we'll schedule a call because as much as I'm not a phone person, I think that's the only way you can kind of gauge what kind of trip they actually want. And sometimes people don't know what they want. So when you're talking to them, it comes to them. So I think that's how I'm doing it now. That's how I'll be doing it moving forward.
You're right. People don't know what they want. They say, "Oh, I want to be on an island." And
yeah, and the amount of times that I've done a whole itinerary and I have it in my verbiage online. Like if I make a new itinerary, it's a new cost because I just sat there and built everything up.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
like that's a new trip.
Time.
Because I've gotten through whole thing, gave them options, and then they'd be like, you know what? Actually, not feeling Jamaica. What do you think about Aruba? And I'm like, that's a whole nother. I'm gonna have to sit and start the process over. So yeah, I think get on a phone call would kind of alleviate a lot of that. Because then they're looking at me like I just paid you, I'm not paying you again, or I'm not trying to do that.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And for everybody out there, travel itineraries take time.
A lot of time.
Because what you have to do is you have to learn that person and be like, okay, like what's their temperament? What's like, are they going like to party? Do they want to, that's a lot.
It is
and
a lot.
then to say, oh, I want to change it up. Nah.
It's a lot.
You getting this itinerary. You getting this one.
Seriously. And then you have to check, COVID changed the whole thing. And I kind of started officially in the midst of COVID in a way. So I'm having to check travel advisories online, and I'm advising clients, and sometimes they don't listen, and I can't tell them what or what not to do, but it's a lot.
I do have to touch on it just a little bit, but AI.
Right.
How do you feel about AI coming into the travel industry?
Okay. AI freaks me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But I feel as though it'll be helpful in a lot of ways too. Of course, as technology advances, it makes our jobs easier in a lot of ways. And then there's things we don't think about because people are creating technology for the betterment. But then we think about things that are like drawbacks. So I thought about it and I was like, well, is going to take jobs? Are people going to want to just book through AI, like an AI system or anything like that? But I think the one thing we'll never lose is needing that human contact with certain things and human touches. It's really important. I learned that from working with Red Bull years ago. Like they had us on like a street team called the Wings team, essentially, because when they got rid of the team, their sales plummeted. That in-person contact and us, you know, explaining what's in the product and knowing what's in it, and, you know, and kind of battling people who are like, oh, Red Bull's bad for you. And then we're kind of like, you know, but this is what's actually going on in the product. It made a huge difference for their business. So I think that it may shift it a lot, but I don't think we're ever going to lose needing people to talk to.
Yeah, that's very true. And, you know, AI is all about the people that are using it. Like you only get, it's like an output input thing. So it's like you'll get the most out of it, and some people just aren't that bright.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get what you want, because, you know, sometimes you're going to need somebody to have that personal touch. You was right around the Red Bull cans.
Yeah, I was for 2 years in
cool.
college.
The Red Bull cans. You see those all the time. Top 5 destinations
that I want to go to or that I've been to.
That you want to go to. Look towards the future.
I feel pressure because I'm like, do I want to pick stuff that people heard of or not heard of?
Nah.
Okay. Well, I feel like a big area for me for a long time has always been like Spain. So Marbella, going place like Ibiza, Barcelona.
That's on mine. That's my hit list.
You know, I really, as far as like the ones that people really already have been to, Bali's on my list. It's really high on my list. I want to say
Bali just sounds like serenity. Just
peace. It is.
Yeah.
Colombia. A lot of people started to go to Colombia, but I actually haven't been.
Okay.
So that's high on my list. I think that the scene and the culture is beautiful. I want to get to Brazil, but that's actually booked. So we're going to get to Brazil very soon.
Oh, we out here. Okay.
Yeah, we're out. And Guyana, just because.
Oh, yeah, you got to go home.
Gotta go home.
You
haven't been.
That's what's up. Okay. Are there any crazy stories? Now, let's remember that your parents may see this. So, yeah, but are there any crazy stories that you can?
My parents pretty much know everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well,
let's finish your question.
Are there any crazy stories that you experienced, like overseas traveling? You can give me a short one. It don't have to be a long one.
Yeah, no. I honestly, and the story has been heard in Atlanta, depending on what circles you're in. But I feel like this is just the craziest experience I've had. I traveled with a group of people I didn't know. Okay. I just was having the travel bug. It was like 2019. I booked it. None of my friends wanted to go. I was like, I'm still going. I didn't really know anybody. I knew one girl, kind of. We've been in a project together. Yeah. I followed a couple people, but I didn't know them. So I went by myself, essentially, to Panama. It was a group of like 20-something of us. And it was crazy even taking off whatever, as far as, you know, we had to deplane 3 times. The planes weren't working out. So we ended up leaving the next day. The person who was over it worked with a travel agent for the trip. And unbeknownst to all of us, they had history, like a relationship history. And he had taken an interest in me. And anyways, long story short, the interest did not go well because she ended up changing my flight and trying not to tell me. So essentially, I would have been leaving a day after the whole group if I didn't call and check in on my arrangements.
How was she even able to do that?
She was the travel agent for the trip.
Oh, my.
He was working with her. And again, unbeknownst to me, they had decided this is their last business arrangement. It was already planned, but they had been done for a long time. The fact that she saw he was interested in me really, I guess, infuriated her. And yeah, we weren't even involved on the trip. Yeah, we weren't even involved on the trip. And what's funny is what happened was he had to then change his flight to stay with me. So essentially it pushed us to get more acquainted anyways, because he was like, I'm not leaving you behind. And then other people's like, well, I got to go to work. I can't stay with you. Like, we're cool, but I got to go back home. So it was probably the craziest thing I've ever experienced. And I'm with her agency now, too. Just happens. Things happen.
Happy accidents.
It worked out for me. I got to explore the jungle in Panama because of that. We stayed an extra day. We took a tour, and it was amazing. Like,
that's wild, though.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You didn't even know what to say.
I don't even know what to say. Like, if somebody changed my flight.
Yeah, it was with malintentions for sure.
We gonna squad. Wow. Okay.
I definitely had to hold it in because I'm in a foreign country.
Yeah, no, you don't want to get locked up abroad.
I watch those shows. You know, I watch locked up abroad.
I watch those shows. It's crazy. This is a good one because we got to see where your ear is right now.
Okay.
I need your top 5 artists that are on your travel playlist.
I'm glad you did artists because you know what? I haven't been listening to music lately as much. So I'm only hearing things when I'm on social media.
I think that's funny when people say that. How do you not listen to music?
I love music so much. So if I'm going through a space or if I'm too busy or whatever, it's just my emotions are so tied to music. Okay. I have to take breaks sometimes.
Understandable. Okay.
Depending on what's going on.
Yeah.
I want to say Afrobeat artists are at the top of that, like a Thames or a DeVito. Afrobeat and like Calypso and Caribbean music are always at the top for travel playlists for me. I don't want to say Drake because he's on my nerves, but then he just pops out the hits.
You know, I feel like Drake's gonna be on women's playlists always because of the one-liners that you could use on captions. And
it's not even just, I just think they're kind of like boppies. He knows what we like to hear. And I can't stand him. But anyways, right. Meg, of course.
Okay.
Meg Thee Stallion's got the things you get ready to, you pregame to.
Right.
I want to say Lotto too.
Lotto.
A lot of women.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're a woman. You're allowed to listen to women. All right. That's
cool. A lot of women taking over.
A lot of turned up.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Between the turned up and the like Calypso, Afrobeat, that's where it's at for me.
Okay. That's a good one. Where can people find you? Like if they want to plan this excursion and don't want to do it by themselves, don't do it by yourself. Where can people find you? How do they get started?
So our website is Noire Luxe Travel. So that's NOIRE LUXE Travel. It just really means luxury black travel. You know. And then our Instagram is at Travel Noire Luxe. So it's spelled the same way. I'm definitely gonna have a lot of stuff. They're gonna see a lot of stuff and a lot of opportunities to travel. I'll be hosting trips. So.
And you about to go to Brazil, possibly? So
No.
It's doing it.
No, it's booked.
Oh, okay. So we about to. So
if
you go on the page, you about to see a lot of Brazil.
You're gonna see the Brazil pictures.
All right, y'all, pay attention.
I don't know how old the pictures will be, but we'll see.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're of you and you in Brazil. It don't even matter.
Listen.
You know.
Yeah, we're going to Rio.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, talking to us about travel. Everybody needs to travel. Yeah. And make sure everybody follows you and start traveling, please, Black people.
And get some help so you have people telling you what to do.
Yes, man. Yeah. So this is For All We Know. Thank you, Krystal Douglas, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And like I said, go travel and always be yourself because everyone else is taken. 1 minute.
I am literally like so hot.